right out in the open now. Makes my job a lot easier, but still it's like playing a game of chicken with these criminals as they take over every facet of our society and every other major nation and loot the living daylights out of it. The FDA has come out and rejected a ban on bisphenol A, and so people nationwide are demanding that it be labeled. Companies are voluntarily labeling that their plastic is not the cancer-causing sterilant. So government is going to move, they're now announcing, as they've done with GMOs, to not let plastic be labeled. We're going to poison you, and we're not going to let you find out to make your own choice. Just like they've tried to take mercury out of the label of the vaccines, but keep it in there. Follow the money. BPA makers to gross $8 billion thanks to FDA rejecting ban. You will be fed toxic sterilants for men, breast cancer causing agents for women. We've got that report. Homeland Security targets anti-abortion activist as domestic terrorist. This has been going on for a long time. Peaceful anti-abortion activists. I have video of them having their arms broken by police. Now, it's torture in Abu Ghraib or in Dr. Mengele's dungeon, but it's not torture when the police do it. And again, government hiding it in plain view by changing the name to pain compliance is trying to sell torture. I've seen state courts rule tasering to make you answer questions is good. Well, you can't make somebody violate their Fifth Amendment. You certainly can't torture them and make them speak. This is this hiding tyranny in plain view. That's coming up. Also, Arizona passes sweeping internet censorship bill, legislation to make it illegal to use offensive language online. It's basically an FCC type deal at the state level. And again, don't let people protest abortions, ban cussing. When you take anybody's free speech, oh, I disagree with your speech against abortion. Okay, well, you're going to lose your speech now. You've got to support everybody's free speech or you lose the free speech. Continuing here, new powers to record every phone call and email make surveillance 60 million times worse. This has already been going on. They're just announcing in England what already is done here. Everything is already recorded. Everything is run through giant NSA hubs. Everything is put through these systems. And the public is now just being acclimated. Just 5 years ago, the media is like, it's crazy. We're not spying on you. None of this is going on. You can believe us. We care about you. We would never spy. That's illegal. To, yes, we're spying on everybody. So that's coming up. Also, this report from last Friday got a lot of attention around the web and was linked for over the weekend on drudgereport.com. It's from Infowars.com. Climate change skeptics, a sickness that must be treated, says professor. Global warming alarmist equates climate denial with racism. And we've written past articles everywhere where it's not just her saying, take people to re-education centers. They're saying arrest climate deniers. So these are authoritarians parading around who play this appeal to authority and say, I am your boss. I say you must believe what I say. And it's like Holocaust denial. That's what they say. You must be arrested for that. Well, you must be arrested for this. And now in Europe, if you criticize anything political, they arrest you. First it starts with Holocaust and moves on to that. No free speech. And these people just sit there and say, look, I work for the government. I work for academia. I am your God. Believe what I say or off with your head or off to the gulag, off to the retraining center. These are total authoritarians masquerading as liberals. There's also big gun grabs happening. We'll let you know about that straight ahead. Well, it's already the second day of April 2012. And we are going to be live here for the next 3 hours. I am Alex Jones, your host on this Monday edition. The websites are prisonplanet.tv and Infowars.com. Let me tell you what is coming up today during this transmission. Your phone calls, I'm going to have wide open phones. Right now, I'm going, for the first time ever, to control myself I've said this about 1,000 times, never been able to do it. Go through the basic stacks of news here to give you an idea of what's coming up, and then I'm going to go through different sectors of this throughout the broadcast today so we have time to properly cover it all. Let's just begin over here on my right-hand side. Man whose WMD lies led to 100,000 deaths in Iraq confesses all. Curveball, the Iraqi defector who supposedly caused us to go to war, admits it was all a lie. That is another lie, and the London Independent's biting into it. This is being aired on BBC television. Curveball came after the White House and Downing Street memos that we now have confirmed that they said we're going to fix intelligence with the Office of Special Plans and make up lies and go and find people who will basically lie for us. That is one article of probably 200. Let me go to the next one. Opposition says Syrian rebel fighters to get salaries. BBC. The peaceful protesters that have rocket launchers and have been attacking Syria and murdering people for a year and being called loving democracy activists are now to get public salaries funded by the U.S. government, your money, to overthrow the country and put al-Qaeda in charge, they've said on record, and kill the Christians. The groups that our government is funding are on record saying the first thing they're going to do is slaughter the Jews and Christians and Muslim minority groups there in the country, and Saudi Arabian government is funding it all as well, publicly. Continuing, nations pledge millions for Syrian opposition. A coalition of 70 partners, including the United States, pledged Sunday to send millions of dollars in communications equipment to Syria's opposition groups. They're just opposition groups, you know, that blow up police stations with bombs led by al-Qaeda. On record. But al-Qaeda's everywhere, and I've got to get my rights up or they're going to get me. Also coming up, I'm going to spend some time on the NFL, something I don't normally talk about, because they're talking about criminal charges for the bounty program that, by the way, is going on in most NFL teams forever. I mean, I wasn't even a good football player, but you know, did play high school football and was in some games, and they put me on the field just because I would accidentally hurt people routinely. Just had the knack for hurting people, and the coaches would salivate over the fact that many times I would just hurt people. So that's going on. I just had a knack for it. So now it comes out they were paid to hurt people. And the very Justice Department that ships narcotics into the country, and the very Justice Department that ships guns into Mexico to blame the Second Amendment, and the very FBI crime lab caught framing thousands, Dr. Frederick Whitehurst, the head of it, went public and blew the whistle. They're going to now be the good guys, I guess, and start indicting players who would get $10,000 if they hurt a star player like Brett Favre. I mean, that's nothing to these guys making $10 million a year. It was just entertainment. I mean, that's what you're always trying to hurt the quarterback. I mean, you might as well just indict the entire NFL and its history, and Vince Lombardi, dig his body up, put it on display, and send the body of Vince Lombardi to federal prison. Because that's what you do in football, is hurt the quarterback, and anybody that says that isn't the case isn't living on planet Earth. Period. It's just so ridiculous. It's like that line from Apocalypse Now, which is based on some of the famous writings of people that have been in combat. Folks like Kurt Vonnegut made these points, and many others, that we court-martialed pilots who write cuss words on the sides of their airplanes or discipline them, but then we have them drop firebombs on cities full of children. Again, it's this criminal government always running around acting like They're going after bad guys, arresting Willie Nelson for marijuana, trying to take Willie Nelson's house with the IRS, always targeting some high-profile person to get attention and scare people. It's about fear, mafia fear. The FBI and ATF barbecuing children at Waco. The CIA shipping narcotics in. All right. I'm trying to go through the news. I'm actually moving pretty quick here. I'm going to get into all of that today. I will cover it. And then I'm going to cover this little jewel right here. People thought that I posted a photograph of her that was not flattering, or that Paul Watson did. Actually, and you can go up to Infowars.com and see her photo. This is one of the flattering ones. And I'm not going off how she looks, but that became the whole discussion. Now, the dazed control freak sneer like she's a demonic crocodile, that is important, but we can show folks maybe a document cam of this. Climate change skepticism, a sickness that must be treated, says Professor. Global warming alarmist equates climate denial with racism. And this is standard operating procedure. This is what they say in the BBC and the London Telegraph and all over the news. Hundreds of them say, take people's children at birth to train them to protect the earth. Arrest anyone who disagrees with the government on this. Arrest Lord Monckton. Arrest anyone that says that there's not 100% consensus. Remember that hoax, that there was 100% consensus and no one could say that men and mankind, anthropogenic global warming wasn't the case, and that it was an imminent thing that would kill us by 2010, flooded cities. Al Gore said in 2000, polar bears can't swim, greatest land animal swimmer there is, showing cartoons to school children of drowned polar bears. Total lie, total hoax, and they say, arrest us. I mean, I had the head of the Zeitgeist movement on. I'm not attacking all the ideas of the Zeitgeist movement that they kicked off using my footage in their first film. I'm not attacking him, but I had the guy on the air, and I said, well, what if I won't go live in the big plastic city? What if I won't go along with what you're saying? What if I don't want to be part of this system and have a big computer run everything, which, of course, the globalist program? He goes, well, you'll just have to be re-educated. You'll be sent to a re-education center. And then I reached out to him a few months ago to come on the show, and I said, look, I want to be friendly. I apologize if I yelled at you and stuff. I could have done that interview better. I really want to hear what you really think. And he said, fine, I'll come on, but here's my list of demands. And one of them was, I apologize for saying that he said I'd have to be sent to a re-education center. And I remembered the interview like 5 years before, and I thought, let me go pull it up, or 4 years before. And I went and pulled the interview up, and sure enough, there the guy was saying that. I mean, that's the world of these people. Like, they say something, and it makes it so. You will apologize for saying I said something I said. And this woman says you're going to be locked up because they say you're mentally ill, like Stalin did people. I mean, these are such authoritarians. They're so dangerous. All over the world, they're inoculating children without parental consent. They're now doing it in California. Abortions without parental consent with 10-year-old girls. The government fights that you can't have a GMO label on a product to know that it's been spliced with other plants and animals or grows its own pesticide inside it so bugs won't eat it. This is amazing. EPA, FDA doesn't want you to know when there's bisphenol A in products and is blocking a ban of it. But at least people know what BPA is now. It is so over the top what we're facing. So coming up, new invasions by proxy of Syria, calling people with rocket launchers and plastic explosives peaceful protesters, and run by Al-Qaeda on record. It's on record Al-Qaeda's running it. Al-Qaeda works for the bankers who kidnapped America. People go, Well, what do you mean? Al-Qaeda attacked us. What do you mean our government runs Al-Qaeda? No, no, no. The criminal element that runs our country runs Al-Qaeda. You heard Colonel Schaefer on a month ago say that Anwar al-Awlaki, number 3 in Al-Qaeda, some argue number 2, is an FBI asset. I mean, that's admitted, AP, Reuters, Fox, but just think about that. The guy on TV speaking for Al-Qaeda works for the U.S. government. And I'm supposed to not talk about 9/11 being an inside job. By inside job, inside criminal elements at the banker level, the New World Order level, wanted to take our liberties, wanted to set up a police state, wanted to federalize everything, wanted to bring in Agenda 21, and they did it. And they use Al-Qaeda everywhere. I'm not saying Al-Qaeda doesn't exist. I'm saying they're the bad guys. And they work for the New World Order. All right, we've got, when we come back, I'm getting into our top story. Our top story, straight ahead. They're coming for the guns. They've now openly announced it. Obama's coming for your guns. The NRA, that's normally pretty milquetoast when it comes to defending the Second Amendment, loyal opposition of a sort at the top, they've gotten a little bit better over the last few years, thanks to Gun Owners of America pointing it out and some big fights on their board, but that's another issue. The NRA, National Rifle Association, came out a few months ago and said their internal analysis and lobbying sources show that Obama, and his memos say this as well, his promise to Handgun Policy Center, Violence Policy Center, all those different groups, Handgun Control Incorporated, their analysis shows that he does plan to try to ban semi-autos from manufacture and sale, not just from manufacture. And, of course, you know they're buying up 400 and something million hollow point bullets here, another 300 million other types of rounds there. Every federal agency and state agency are arming to the teeth against the public because it's not our government. It works for the global mafia, the mega banks that have seized the country. Does that mean the average person in those bureaucracies is bad? No. Just like the average German soldier was not a bad person. But who's on top? Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase, sworn to destroy this country's sovereignty, all on record shipping narcotics into the country and being above the law. Laundering the money, owning the aircraft, Bloomberg, AP, nobody gets in trouble. Wells Fargo, Wachovia. Government shipping guns into Mexico to blame the Second Amendment. In all the federal court rulings, narcotics trafficking. Their informants come in all the time and say, I was told to bring in these 10 tons. The government comes in and says, that's right, please drop the case. Of course, it's $500 billion a year in drugs coming in alone. Of course, the big banks that run the country and run the military and run the FBI are running it. The only people they're allowed to bust are the small potato people. The people that happen to have routes to sneak it in that cuts in on the big mafia's money. That's it. When they bust your kid using illegal drugs, they send them to college, prison college, HIV, hepatitis, tuberculosis college. When they get out, they're covered with tats head to foot. They know how to be a good punk now and a good informant to go lie on good citizens and send them to prison. That's why we have the biggest prison population in the world. We have a mafia that runs America. I'm sorry, I'm digressing from our top news here. I told you that it was coming. NRA has warned that Obama does plan this in his second administration, like he told Medvedev. He said, I can do whatever I want once I'm reelected. It doesn't matter because the guy running against him, who's the preeminent, Republican or the heir apparent, the media is saying, Mitt Romney's been for victim disarmament and abortion. Obama administration exploits Trayvon Martin shooting to push anti-gun, race-baiting rhetoric. From Florida to Minnesota, from Wisconsin to Texas, black youths are now mugging and beating up white people and Hispanics. And when it's in the news, you've got to fight to find out that they're racial attacks. Because, again, the system creates the myth of this wanton white-on-black crime wave. They create this giant myth that all of this is going on. Then people think, well, it's my right to go to the local fair or go to the local event and beat up anybody who isn't black. And then when it happens, it'll be buried in the news that police say that the youth appear to be black and that it's racially motivated. But it's buried in the articles that this is going on. And so why would the system do this? They want us at each other's throats big time. That's what all this is about. And as the depression gets worse and worse, the bankers don't want us aware of what they've done, unifying against their federal takeover force of the TSA, unifying against their internet censorship. No, they want domestic unrest. The last time the globalists manipulated this, with the media's help in the late 1960s, major cities burned, mainly black areas, destroying their own infrastructure. So the NAACP is begging people not to follow the media's hype on this. And it was used to pass the '68 Gun Control Act. When we come back, I'm going to break down this article by Paul Joseph Watson and, of course, yours truly, Alex Jones. We've got huge news on a bunch of other fronts as well. It is a news overload today, and I'm going to give the number out and take your phone calls. Stay with us. If you believe in this information and want to support its viral spread, go to the InfoWars store at InfoWars.com. We've got the new G.I. Joe InfoWars t-shirts. We've got the incredible Pro Pure gravity-fed filters available at InfoWars.com in the store. We've got a new DVD, Scientists Under Attack, the Don't Tread on Me flag. We've got all sorts of different bumper stickers to help spread the rebellion virally. It's all there, wristbands, citizen rule books in every order. Order online at Infowars.com today. The water filters, the canteens, it's all there. Infowars.com. Is right out in the open now. Makes my job a lot easier, but still it's like playing a game of chicken with these criminals as they take over every facet of our society and every other major nation and loot the living daylights out of it. The FDA has come out and rejected a ban on bisphenol A, and so people nationwide are demanding that it be labeled. Companies are voluntarily labeling that their plastic is not the cancer-causing sterilant. So government is going to move, they're now announcing, as they've done with GMOs, to not let plastic be labeled. We're going to poison you, and we're not going to let you find out to make your own choice. Just like they've tried to take mercury out of the label of the vaccines, but keep it in there. Follow the money. BPA makers to gross $8 billion thanks to FDA rejecting ban. You will be fed toxic sterilants for men, breast cancer causing agents for women. We've got that report. Homeland Security targets anti-abortion activists as domestic terrorists. Like, it's crazy. We're not spying on you. None of this is going on. You can believe us. We care about you. We would never spy. That's illegal. To, yes, we're spying on everybody. So that's coming up. Also, this report from last Friday got a lot of attention around the web and was linked for over the weekend on drudgereport.com. It's from Infowars.com. Climate change skeptics, a sickness that must be treated, says professor. Global warming alarmist equates climate denial with racism. And we've written past articles everywhere where it's not just her saying, you know, take people to re-education centers. They're saying arrest terrorists. This has been going on for a long time. Peaceful anti-abortion activists. I have video of them having their arms broken by police. Now, it's torture in Abu Ghraib or in Dr. Mengele's dungeon, but it's not torture when the police do it. And again, government hiding it in plain view by changing the name to pain compliance is trying to sell torture. I've seen state courts rule tasering to make you answer questions is good. Well, you can't make somebody violate their Fifth Amendment. You certainly can't torture them and make them speak. This is this hiding tyranny in plain view. That's coming up. Also, Arizona passes sweeping internet censorship bill, legislation to make it illegal to use offensive language online. It's basically an FCC type deal at the state level. And again, don't let people protest abortions, ban cussing. When you take anybody's free speech, oh, I disagree with your speech against abortion. Okay, well, you're going to lose your speech now. You've got to support everybody's free speech or you lose the free speech. Continuing here, new powers to record every phone call and email make surveillance 60 million times worse. This has already been going on. They're just announcing in England what already is done here. Everything is already recorded. Everything is run through giant NSA hubs. Everything is put through these systems. And the public is now just being acclimated. Just 5 years ago, the media